Always exciting when UPS drops a big heavy box off at the front door. Wow, that's nice. Wasn't expecting a catalog. Alright, so I ordered this through Amazon, but the seller is Discount Machine, who I've bought quite a few things through before and always had really good luck with them. But it's shipped directly from Shars, according to the shipping label on the box. The reason I went through Amazon, the price was a little better, but the main reason was for return capabilities. It's really easy to return stuff through Amazon, so that was my main motive there. I could have bought it directly from Shars, but it was about another $80 higher to go that way. Alright, let's open this up. Well, it looks pretty. Okay, checking for any damage. So far so good. Yeah, so I've learned the hard way that when you're buying something precision, such as this, find out what the return policy is first, and if we see anything suspicious, it doesn't look right, we're gonna get on the horn right away and probably return it. So first impressions, looks pretty good. There's a burr right here at the parting line. I don't know if it's just a burr or maybe a piece of swarf between the back plate and the chuck body. The thread bores have grit in them. I can see grit down below here in the chuck jaws. There's a little ding right here. Not bad. That'll stone out, no problem. Not bad. It's definitely going to need a tear down and a full cleanup, but I don't want to do that yet until we've checked it out enough that we know there's no immediate problems, because I don't want to do anything that may affect the return policy until we verified everything is at least good to that point. I don't want to open the new chuck key yet until we know everything's good. So I grabbed one of mine. It's a little small, but I think it'll be okay. Just so we can check the jaws here. Probably should have grabbed a bigger test bar. This is a drill blank, 9/16. So it should be pretty dang accurate. What I'm checking for as it's tightening, I want to make sure that everything comes together at the same time, and it sure does. Okay, that's good. So a lot of you know I did a video quite a while ago on a chuck, brand new chuck that I bought, and it had tremendous bell mouthing right out of the box. It was essentially useless right out of the box. And we're just doing the same thing. Okay, that's a really nice fit. Okay. So we've passed our first couple inspection tests. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to do a test fit without the pins. I'm going to do a test fit on the spindle nose with some bluing. Well, I'll check it without bluing first. I just want to see how it feels on the spindle, and then we'll blue it and see how the fit is. And if all that is good, then we can proceed with cleaning this thing up and getting it ready. I found this chuck in the catalog page. It's this one right here. It's an 8-inch D1, D14, 2-piece jaws, and this is just the cast iron version, and the catalog number is 202-5439. Just did a test fit blue up. It's going to be heavier on one side because of the weight of the chuck. It's really hard to hold these perfect. But yeah, I'm really happy. That looks great. So we can go ahead now and disassemble and clean this thing up and get it ready for install. Take a look at this. So here's the chuck key that came with it. Well, luckily it seems they did a better job on the chuck. We're going to be making a new key anyway, so we're not too worried about that. I need to use 2 of the backplate bolts in these jacking holes to get that backplate off. What I like to do, I go over to the belt sander, and when these screws come out of the screw machine, they always leave like a cup end on them. So I just go over and knock most of that off on the belt sander. That way it doesn't dig into the back of the chuck body or whatever it happens to be as bad. And a little dab of high pressure grease on the end also. Give it a fighting chance. My assortment of M&M's candy size fasteners is slowly growing, and I actually had them in stock. They're 5mm by 0.8. And I gave them the same belt sander treatment on the ends. Only needed like 2 more turns. Okay. Nice. Well, it's got plenty of grease and a fair amount of grit. I got everything cleaned and dried off, and I gotta tell you, I'm pleasantly surprised. It wasn't bad at all, really. The jaws, they don't need anything. They can just go right back in. The pinion gears, they're good. The scroll, it looks okay. Yeah, not bad at all. Oh, we did have a casualty. The Shars label. It didn't like the mineral spirits, so we'll have to glue that back in. Okay, let me do the deburring. All right. I gave everything another wash down with clean mineral spirits after doing the deburring and stoning. So ready for reassembly. On the scroll, I'm going to use oil on this side and grease on the gear side. Alright, I'm going to try not to block the camera, but no promises. Okay, everything's clean, ready to go. Got my number 1 here. It's going to line up with my mark here, just for future reference. Hopefully you guys can see this. Can you see the daylight between the back of the chuck mount and the face of the spindle? Yeah, right there. That's not supposed to be like that. Okay, there it's a little closer. Yeah, because this mount, from what I've been able to research, it relies on there being, you know, a good contact between the back of the chuck and the shoulder, or face, I guess it would be face, of the spindle to line the chuck up. And I've got it, I don't have it gronked down, but I've got it tightened down pretty good on our cam locks. What's interesting, let me back up a little bit here. When I first mounted the chuck up, I brought everything down, you know, nice and even with the cam locks, and then I threw in a piece of stock, and I thought I had it in there crooked because the run out was so bad, it was wobbling all over the place. So I went back and rechecked everything and pretty much just left it. And well, I took measurements, but then I left it for, it's been about 4 days since I did that. And the chuck has actually settled in, probably just from temperature changes. We have had quite a few temperature swings in the last few days. So it's actually improved since the last time I looked at it. But it's still not right. So we'll go back to the bench and come up with a plan. Well, guys, the lathe chuck spindle saga continues. I have done more studying and reading up on these D1 spindle mounts than I ever wanted to. So what's happening is we have a similar issue with this new chuck. Even though it blued up nicely, we had good contact pattern, we've got a very similar issue where we're coming up tight in the tapered bore before we're making contact on the back face. So this face and the mating face on the spindle nose, they need to come in contact with each other, because that lines up your axial, I guess your axial alignment, okay? And they're not mating up. We've got about a 6 thousandths gap. You know, when I run a feeler gauge, it's not even because it's not drawing in evenly, but the average seems about right. Okay, we had the similar problem with this one, and this one we found this. We originally found a 2 thousandths shim. Reach over, 2 thousandths shim behind that chuck. So we made a new one. This one is a 6 thousandths shim, and I think it's a little thin. It almost worked, but I think it needs another thousandth. Because over here, I have the similar measurement, but what I've done is I went ahead and made up another shim. This is a 7 thousandths shim, so I haven't tried it yet. So that's going to be our next step. So doing the research, it doesn't appear to be a real common problem, but it's not an unusual problem, especially with these imported lathes. And there's a lot of theories on what to do, or you know, what's happening, or what to do. Okay, I mean, ideally you'd want to have the spindle professionally reground to the exact spec. Or you could try regrinding it yourself, and I'm not ready to do that. Okay. So we're gonna try the shim first. A lot of guys that I was reading up on, they use the shim method to address the issue. So I think we'll try that first. So that's gonna be our next move. Yeah, this is getting to be a bit depressing, but we've got to keep moving forward. So let me try this and let's see what happens. Okay, this is the first fit up with the 7,000 shim. So let's see what we have. That is just under 2 thousandths. Okay, let's run out toward the end. Just over 2. Well, maybe closer to 3. 0 is just slightly different, but that's way, way better than before. And we seem to be parallel. Okay. What I'm going to do off camera, so we have 3 different ways we can clock this. So I'm going to try all 3 positions and see if one is better than the other. So let me do that and then I'll let you know what we come up with. Check it out, guys. Maybe just a whisker over 1 thou. Move out toward the end. Not quite 2 thou. So that's not bad. So what I found, I was getting ready to clock this to a different position, and when I took the chuck loose, it popped right off. And normally it should be stuck just slightly, where you got to tap it with a mallet just slightly just to break it loose. So that told me my shim was too thick, and because we weren't engaging the taper. So I flip-flop shims. This was the shim from the other chuck, which is 1,000th thinner, and I think this may be the answer. I might even go 1,000th thinner than this one, but I'm going to do some more testing. But yeah, boy, I'm happy to see that we're probably there. But I'm going to keep fiddling with it and see how good we can get it. I tried all 3 mounting positions, clocking at 100 or 120 degrees each time, and there's almost no difference at all. This last position seems to be maybe just a tenth or maybe 2/10 better, but it's so close that most of the time you would never worry about it that much. Chuck body. Okay, let's try these jaw faces. I'm happy with that. That's awesome. All right, so out of curiosity, I put our 6-inch chuck back on, but I used the thicker shim that I previously had made for the 8-inch chuck, and it's much better. Not a home run, but I think we got a usable solution here. It's actually better out here. It's probably just the way the jaws are ground. Yeah, so I'm liking it. Well guys, if you made it this far, congratulations and thank you. Yeah, well, I hope that's useful to somebody. Yeah, it was quite an ordeal, but hopefully we've got a solution we can work with. I was hoping to do a little bit of turning, a few test cuts, but this video just got way too long, so we'll have to do that somewhere down the road. I'm working on getting a space for that little surface grinder, so hopefully we'll have something coming up on that soon. And I don't know if you guys can hear it out, we're getting hit again with another storm. Pretty windy, not as bad as last time, but a whole lot wetter. So, but it looks like we're going to have a little clear stretch coming up, maybe 5 days or so. Once this one blows over, I think it's going to last through till tomorrow. I'm ready for springtime. Just tired of this rain. All right, guys, we will see you soon. Thanks a lot for stopping by.